everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Amy and today we're making our second recipe inspired by Outlander. It's another full dinner and it turned out so good, I think I'll be making this one more often too. We're making pork tenderloin with cider sauce and German fried potatoes, as mentioned in Lord Grey and the Brotherhood of the Blade, chapter 28. Not a very comfortable meal for Lord John Grey for several reasons, but it was definitely delicious this time around. So let's get cooking. Start by preheating the oven to 400 degrees and make sure the rack is in the upper middle position. Now to the stove, and we need 2 pounds of white potatoes. Give them a good scrub and then cover them with water in a large pot. You want the water to be about an inch over the largest potato. Pop a lid on the pot, bring this to a boil, and then turn the heat down and simmer the potatoes until they're just cooked through about 15 to 20 minutes. Let's get our pork ready, starting with our seasoning rub. We need 1.5 teaspoons of coarse salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 garlic cloves that have been peeled and cut in half or quarters, some fresh thyme leaves, and sage. For the sage, you can use rubbed sage like I am if you don't have any fresh, but if you have fresh sage, you want about 12 leaves all chopped up. Now grind this up together until you get a loose and somewhat dry sort of a paste. You can use either a mortar and pestle like this one or a small food processor for this part. When everything's ground up together, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and stir everything up until it's combined. Then set this to the side for a moment and let's prepare the pork. We need 2 pork tenderloins, and all we need to do is cut them on a diagonal into 4 to 5 chunks. Although if your tenderloins are pretty wet, I would recommend drying them off first so the seasoned rub sticks to the meat and it doesn't slide right off. Put all the tenderloin chunks in a big bowl, dump in the seasoned rub, and toss the pork around until all the pieces are coated nicely in that really fragrant rub. Then set these to the side to rest for a few minutes while we finish up our prep. So yes, at this point we do have a little bit of choppy prep. We need 4 slices of thick cut bacon and a medium onion. For the onion, it needs to be sliced very thin or even julienned into little skinny slices. Chop the bacon into small pieces crosswise like this and set both of these aside for later because we're going to need these for the potatoes. By this time, our potatoes should be ready. Remove them from the water and let them cool for a few minutes. When they're cool enough to handle, we need to peel them. The skin should come off pretty easy. You should be able to either peel it right off with your fingers or just lightly scrape the potato with like a fork or a butter knife. When they're all peeled, slice them into 1/2-inch slices and set them to the side. This is going to be a bit of a messy business here, but that's half the fun with cooking anyway, right? Alright, now we need a large heavy skillet, like a cast iron or a stainless steel pan like this one. Add 1 tablespoon of olive oil and heat it over medium-high heat until the oil is nice and shimmery. Start adding some of the pork pieces to the pan, and we need to sear these before they go in the oven to roast. Now it's better to do these in batches to avoid crowding the pan, because overcrowding a pan when you're trying to sear meat lowers the pan's temperature too much and it traps moisture. That means we'll end up with soggy steamed pork instead of crispy seared pork, and we definitely do not want soggy meat. When the pork is all seared, place it in an oiled roasting pan without the rack and leave some space in between each piece, again to prevent trapping steam in the oven. Then pop the roaster in the oven for 15 to 18 minutes or until the internal temperature is 145 degrees. For me, 15 minutes was perfect. When the pork's done, pull it out of the oven and set it to the side to rest. You may also want to tent the roaster with some foil to keep the pork nice and warm. While that pork's in the oven, let's get our cider sauce. And this is super easy and quick. Grab the skillet we just used to sear the pork and pour in 1.5 cups of apple cider and 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. Scrape up the brown bits on the bottom of the pan because that is some ultra concentrated flavor right there, and we definitely want that part. I'm using regular apple cider since that's what I have right now, but traditionally it would be a hard cider in this type of dish. So, if you have some in your pantry and you want to use some Angry Orchard, Strongbow, or some woodchuck, by all means, you should totally do that. Bring this to a boil over medium heat and then turn the heat down to low and simmer this until it reduces to about 1 cup of liquid. Then add 2 tablespoons of honey and 1 tablespoon of butter, and stir this together until the honey and butter are completely melted into the liquid. Pour this into a small saucepan and keep it over low heat to stay warm until we're ready to eat. Phew, next step. Grab that same skillet again and add in the bacon that we sliced up what seems like a very long time ago now. Cook the bacon until it starts to brown and it's released its tasty, tasty bacon grease. Then add the onion slices and cook these together until the bacon is nice and crispy and the onion is cooked through and is starting to brown. Remove the onions and the bacon from the pan and set them to the side. Now back to our pan, and it's time for these potatoes. Add 2 tablespoons of butter to the bacon grease, as well as 2 more tablespoons of olive oil. And when all this oil and grease and butter is bubbly, turn the heat to medium-low and start layering the potatoes in there. You won't have room for all of them on the bottom, but that's what we want. When you have a potato slice layer, season them with a generous pinch of salt and pepper, and then layer the remaining potatoes on top. Season the top layer again with some salt and pepper, and now let these taters fry. Don't stir them, no matter how much you want to. Just let them sit completely untouched for like 10 minutes, or until you can see the bottom edges of the potatoes are getting nice and browned and crispy. Then use a thin spatula, kind of like the fish spatula I'm using here, and flip them all over so the top layer is now the bottom layer. Then let these fry again, no stirring, until the bottoms of the potatoes are again nice and golden and crispy. Last, add the bacon and onions back in there, check to see if you need any more salt and pepper, pull them off the heat, and dinner is served. To serve everything, drizzle the cider sauce over the pork after it's on the plate, and then try your best not to put the entire pan of potatoes on the plate at one time. It's not going to be easy, because those potatoes are ridiculous. They are crispy, yet creamy, seasoned perfectly with the onion and the bacon, and that little bit of pepper. Now this may well be my new favorite way to make potatoes. The pork, though, was tender and juicy. The sage and thyme are nice traditional ways to bring out the flavor in pork, but that cider sauce is a showstopper. It's really thin, brothy type of a sauce. It's not what we tend to think of as a sauce, air quotes, when it comes to modern recipes, but that light sweetness of that brothy sauce elevates that traditionally seasoned, humble chunk of pork to a divine level of deliciousness. I'll be honest, I was a little worried that the pork would take a back seat to the potatoes, since those fried potatoes are just so good, but it really doesn't because of that sauce. There really isn't a winner in this race. They complement each other perfectly, and they both taste amazing. So even though this meal has definite steps to it, and it took me over an hour to make, it was totally worth it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment below if you enjoy making tasty pop culture inspired recipes like these. And don't forget, please come and hang out with me on Sundays because I have a new recipe to share every week, and all of them are cozy and comforting home-cooked deliciousness. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next Wednesday for another lovely Outlander themed recipe. Oh, and this time we're headed to Oxford, so you definitely do not want to miss that. Bye!